trendsetter. Yes, this is true, cause what I do, no one can do it better.
Hi. Welcome to like our 15th attempt
Yes,
at
it's
week
finally
3. Yeah, recapping week 3. We got this. No. If you see the video shaking, it's because I used too much of my hands on the table. We'll just sit on them. But anyways, welcome guys to this recap. Really, week 3 was, well, why don't you give them a little insight? How did you feel about week 3?
Week 3 was great. I did, now that I'm thinking about it, I did get a little bit of a cold for whatever reason. More sinus, but it was like 2 days and then gone. It's just something going around the island right now.
Yeah.
But also, everything was great. Meals were perfect. Workouts felt perfect. My physique felt perfect. I'm in that mindset now where I know everything's working and everything's where we need to be. Last Friday, actually, so the end of this video that we're recapping, I actually got a cheat meal.
Woo!
One free meal. Yeah, I had a burger, double patty, bacon, lettuce, cheese, the bun, and then french fries.
Yeah.
I had french fries.
Yeah. So it was really like nutritionally for Kristen, she's been on it. Like she's been crushing everything. The way we do our nutrition for her is that I, set her macros and her calories for a certain amount each week. And then I break that down into her meals for her and actually tell her, okay, this week, let's eat this. Now I don't give her exactly the specific things to eat, but I give her like, you need to make sure you're eating this much protein, this many carbs, this much vegetables, fruit, whatever it is, for each meal. And so she's been crushing it. I mean, that we've been doing that the whole entire time we've been working together the past full year, and it's been working great.
I know a lot of people don't like to eat the same thing every day, but I do.
Yeah.
Seasonings, dry seasonings is where I make it more fun. So my lemon pepper is something I always stick to. Salt is my best friend right now. But yeah, just eating dry seasoning, I've always used that. So I don't have an issue with like eating rice for lunch every day with chicken and green beans. Dinner, I always do red meat, which is my favorite. I've actually clinged to sweet potatoes, or more of a potato than rice, for these last like 4 or 5 weeks now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I crave those now in the evening.
Yeah, and it's we talk about this a lot with our girls, and actually I've particularly with nutrition wise had this conversation with them. A few different of our girls over the past 2 weeks is how do you eat the same thing but not get bored with it? And one aspect is exactly what Kristen does. She eats the same proteins and the same vegetables and the same carbs pretty regularly, but she creates variety. Either it's the way she prepares the protein, the way she prepares each individual thing, the vegetables or the carbs, or the seasoning she adds to them. So one day it might be lemon pepper, another it might be something a little spicy, another it might be just soy sauce. Like it really, she creates a little bit of variety with that. But then there's another mental piece to that too. So our brain actually very much responds to what we tell it about the food that's in front of us. So if we look at the food that's in front of us and we say, oh God, it's me eating chicken again, our brain actually sends like that hormonal and that response to our digestive system to have that food not be as satisfying and not be as exciting or something like that. So a lot of times I challenge the girls, and I do this myself, is I'll look at the chicken that I'm now having 4 days in a row, and I'll look at it and I'll be like, cool, how can I change this up? Oh, sweet, I can add some soy sauce to this, which I didn't do yesterday, so I'm creating variety, and then I'm like, oh yes, that soy sauce is going to be so yummy, it's going to be different. And so like I say those things to my plate of food or to myself as I'm eating it, and it really does make it much more satisfying. And I never get, there are times where we're like, oh, you got to eat this again, and that's just the reality. Like you just work through that. But in general, that mental piece plays a really big part into this whole lifestyle and how much you actually can enjoy it and how you approach your meals. So I think you've got that pretty well on lockdown.
I usually, for my chicken, FYI, I always barbecue it. I get asked this quite often. I always barbecue it or Instant Pot, and then I immediately shred it right after. So when it comes time for me to reheat it, I always reheat my food in a skillet with my oil as part of my fats.
Yeah.
But it creates more volume than just barbecuing a breast of chicken and then slicing and eating it. Even though it's the same thing, it's still different to me.
Yeah.
So that volume, as far as like shredded chicken with rice all mixed together with green beans, is like a huge bowl of food.
Yeah.
Versus like a patch of green beans, a patch of chicken, and a patch of rice.
Yeah. And that's, I think, it's like finding those little hacks that work for you, that make it so that when you look at your food, you're like, oh yeah, I'm excited to eat this.
Yeah.
Even if it's the same thing that you had yesterday, but just put together slightly different.
Yeah.
But then we'll transition now to her cheat meal. So what got us talking all about all this was the fact that she has, because of these skills that she has developed and this ability to really like enjoy eating, her meals, she has crushed it. She's crushed her meals. And so when you do that, you get to this point in your prep for stage, and you're not chasing anything. You're really able to kind of glide into it. You're able to say, okay, let's explore a little bit what happens when we have a meal that's a little different than we're used to. We say cheat meal, but again, like that's such a, you have to say that with some understanding of what that actually means in this world. And that doesn't mean going out and eating, a whole bag of Oreos or a whole sleeve of Oreos with peanut butter and then having a whole pizza or whatever. Like there's barriers to it, right? Like and I told her this, like when I messaged her and I was like, okay, I want you to try a cheat meal tonight. Don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
Like just do something, like whatever you want, think about something you want to eat, and then, eat that. Like let's see what happens to that. And so it was, I think I had told you like burger, fries, sushi, something around those kind of, something that gets her more carbs than she's used to in one meal, a little bit more fat content than she's used to, and then also just different kind of salts and things like that in a different way than she's used to.
I was like, hell yeah, cheat meal.
Yeah.
My husband prepared the whole burger for me, and he wouldn't let me even in the kitchen until it was all completed and stacked and nice and pretty. And then it came time to eat it, and I was like, do I really want to do this? Because it is a mind. Like, you do have to know that after the cheat meal, you have to go right back on plan. But for me, I get really nervous when it comes time to doing these cheat meals because it's so close to show, and you're like, is this going to mess everything up that I just did for the 12 weeks? In reality, no, it's not. The burger, compared to my pictures I took the following morning, it barely did anything. As far as like
changing her physique.
My physique looked the same. I was a little bit more fluffier in areas that I thought, but
which really she wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah. My husband's like, no, your hamstrings look amazing. I'm like, no.
Yeah, really she wasn't at all. Like, in fact, that was my response to, because I told her, make sure you wake up in the morning and send me pictures so I can see. And my immediate response was, okay, cool, it didn't even touch you. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't. So that makes me know, as a coach leading into peak week, we've got a lot of room to play with. Like, a lot of room. The other cool thing,
and I don't think we've even talked about this, I've been 114 pounds for like, I don't even, like, the whole prep pretty much. And I had that cheat meal, and that following, so I had it Friday, that following Monday I took my weight, and I was 112. So it really kicked my metabolism into gear, and this whole week, haven't weighed myself this week, but I've been staying at that 112 now, which is not, we don't look at my weight a whole lot, but it was just kind of cool to see a number like that change after.
And sometimes that's like, it is weird. Our bodies are weird, and they respond to nutrition very interestingly and all very individually. Like we have learned there are these general trends that we coach to, right? But within that, there's you have to personalize it to each of your clients. And sometimes when people hit a plateau. Not that Kristen's hit a plateau. I wouldn't even say that, because for her weight hasn't changed, but her physique has consistently changed every single week. So it's more of a really cool thing to see that her body's holding on to that muscle mass, and she really is maybe even continuing to build, which is like this unicorn of a thing in this industry, even though her calories are low. So like, you know, maybe that's it. But going back to what I was first talking about, sometimes when someone hits a plateau, they do need a refeed. And sometimes a refeed is what you know, tricks their body and their metabolism, whether it's mental or actually physiological, into being like, oh, okay, cool, we can release some, like, it's okay.
We can let go.
Yeah, we can let go of some of this stuff, you know? And sometimes, and other times, like I have one client that I just actually manipulated their macros. Their calories stayed the same, but I actually, I actually lowered their fats by 5 grams and upped their carbs by, I think it was like 12 or something like that, or whatever the numbers actually work out to be. But and that was enough, just that slight switch was enough to trick her body into being like, oh, okay, and it worked well. So there's all these things that we can work with, but it is really cool that that's what happened, and it's just you know, super fun. But yeah, and then the other thing, you touched on it briefly, but I want you to kind of talk a little bit more about it, is when you have a refeed or when you have a cheat meal, you have to be really conscious and aware of it, because you have to go right back on your plan.
I knew I was having this cheat meal. I mean, I'm probably more unique than some other competitors, but I immediately wanted to go right back into my meal plan. But there are moments where it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. All I want to do is have this again. But Saturday night I had that. I think it kind of worked in my favor too, because it was night, so I had it at night. The next morning I woke up and I just got right back on track. I have a son, so there's little snacks and stuff laying around the house, in the pantry. And it's tempting, but then there's like these moments that in my head I'm like, no, I have a goal, and I'm gonna get it. So I go for my egg whites and my bread. But yeah, it was super easy for me to just wake up the next morning and go right back on meal plan. Being 2 weeks out, that does not work for everybody. So
that is another, like, and one meal, you know, one cheat meal doesn't usually do enough to really trigger your body into being like, oh, okay, you're gonna feed me now, I'm gonna tell you I'm starving, right? Usually it takes a little bit more than one meal to trigger that, but also it can just be a mental thing. So we gauge that as far as working with our clients, like, are they mentally stable enough as far as where they're at to have a free meal, or do they just need to stay really set and consistent into the show? And so we gauge all of that. But yeah, I mean, it worked great. Actually, it was interesting. I think it was Sunday morning or Monday morning, you woke up kind of feeling the best. And it did definitely give her a little bit of an energy increase. And then Tuesday she hit a wall, and we'll recap a little bit of that more in the next week's video, because it's kind of a really good cue as to exactly where we want her to be right now.
That Tuesday would have been yesterday, and I'm still kind of lingering there. But
it's all
I feel fine. I'm great.
She does so good with all of this. I mean, as far as like, you know, I will say coaching Kristen's been a very awesome, special thing for me, because she does just take it all really gracefully, and you know, we communicate pretty well. So we're able to, like, all the time. So we're able to kind of you know, push places that maybe we wouldn't push with other people, or we're able to say, okay, we can ease off a little bit here, feeling really comfortable knowing that we can do that. So it's been a really special kind of thing.
Exactly a year, maybe a year and a few weeks now, but it's been exactly a year. So she's learned my mannerisms, and I've learned hers. She knows when to tell me to just suck it up, and she knows when to tell me,
your tears aren't going to help anything right now, Kristen. As I'm crying with her, it's fine.
So it takes time to build with clients, to learn each other, coach and client, and vice versa. So
it does. But week 2. So we're gonna recap on week 2 to finish up week 3. You'll see some posing. Also, there's a training video that we got to do with one of our other clients who will be competing at the same. So Kristen's doing a regional show the night before the pro qualifier on Saturday. So we have another client that is competing that Friday with her in figure, and she's she's just crushing it as far. It's her debut, her first show ever. She's one of our youngest on the team. She really just has learned how to really train, and the nutrition's like all of it was very new to her, and just the progress mentally and everything that she's made is amazing. So huge shout out to Haley.
Yep.
Hopefully you're watching.
To be backstage with her and help her shove her on that stage and shine. So that'll be fun because it doesn't happen often to where coaches can be physically with the client for most shows. Yeah. So especially their first one. Yeah.
It's super special, so it's awesome. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, I know we end each video with this, but we really do mean it. Please, we have a social media Instagram account and then also our YouTube. So either one, Team Thrive Okie, ask us questions. We'd love to answer anything you want to know about. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like and subscribe.
Yep.
We're here. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. What the hell?
Cause I'm a hot topic. I see you watching me, and I know you want it. I wanna be famous, I wanna be a star, I wanna be in movies. When I grow up, I wanna see the world, drive nice cars, I wanna